So I was able to get a successful flight of my uh, backup ship, Cox Little Stinker Pitts, and I got one flight. Um, these are made up of uh, Red Knight and Super Stunner parts, and you may have noted from my blog post that I modified them to use the um, 1957 style wire landing gear with the wheels because I was having trouble on the rough surface where I was flying getting the planes to roll out and accelerate for takeoff. And so these landing gear combined with some foam board for a runway, I was able to get it airborne. But there are problems. These firewalls are old. The landing gears are in great shape, but the firewalls are old, and they don't fit into the fuselages perfectly. They're a little loose, so I'm having to, put like rubber bands on and tape to hold things together. I think, as I recall now, I didn't fly the primary ship first because I was just pulled it out of the bag when I was flying. One of the motor mount screws fell out, so the firewalls are not in great shape. So the project here today is to take an original style landing gear, or the second gen plastic landing gear, and modify it so that the wheels roll better. These wheels snap in, and the problem I was having was that I would, even on takeoff, the wheels would come out of the snap loose from the wheel pant, and then the plane would nose over. So that just wasn't working. Basically, if the wheel rolls smooth like this, it's too loose to even stay in the wheel pant. You can see they just snap loose. So what I'm going to do is try to drill these for axles and make them sturdy and so they roll well. And I'm going to go through that step by step and show you how I do it. So I'm starting to disassemble. I thought I'd just pause for a moment. All I've done so far is take off the rubber bands, and I just wanted to show you how loose these firewall landing gear assemblies from the old model Little Stinkers don't really fit that well in the later edition fuselage halves. You can see how loose it is, and that's why I had the rubber bands going around from the gear legs on either side to hold it in place. And this was the backup ship that I did fly, and on the next attempt I didn't get it airborne, and it nosed over, and you can see how it shifted. I could have stopped and readjusted it and tried again, but I just, at that point of the day, I'd had enough, so I put it in the bag and came home. So anyway, I just wanted to show you how poor the fit is, and hopefully switching to the new gear will get us back to a nice solid airplane. Okay, we got the next level of disassembly. This is a primary. You can see the top screw fell out. This one's pretty solid, actually. Even with 3 screws, it's still very solid. My backup ship, however, all the screws are tight, but I can't really see it, but the landing gear is loose. I was having to bend the wires in the landing gear to kind of help it clamp in there behind the engine. So it's just loose. Hard to do this with one hand, but you can see it's just loose on the gear. So that's why I'm changing it back to the original style landing gears. This firewall was from my little stinker I call a mystery ship. I guess somebody decided to paint it white at one point. Don't know why. So I will reuse all this material when I build up a real 1957 style little stinker to fly. But what I plan to do is just get some hex Allen head. I think it's 440 or 220 screw. I think it's 220 screws with and I'll put washers and lock nuts on the back side to hold everything together and keep it from coming loose. And so that'll be a future post on my blog, I guess, about what kind of hardware you can get and where to get it. Anyway, on to the next step is getting these apart. Okay, more disassembly. I just wanted to do a quick update to show you know, the difference between the old and the new. It's the old 1950s style landing gear with the wire, and it, you know, clamps in behind the engine. This is a pretty disgusting looking firewall. Not sure which one I pulled this out of. I have lots of parts, so, and I don't know, it looks like somebody painted or something on this before too. And this was the mystery ship one, and then this is the new style. Somebody used one of these new old stock black ones. Try to drill axles. I'll have to drill the wheels. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to do that. This is a little jig I have made for drilling through the wheels, and it started out as a jig for drilling posts in die-cast cars that I had opened up to modify, and so I'm going to add a couple more pieces of aluminum tubing to that jig and use it to drill through the wheel from one side to the other. And I thought for fun I would use, I have this 50th anniversary landing gear from my parts supply, and I thought it'd be fun to use that and see how the plating holds up to fuel and use. I don't think it'll do well. Also, this one seems a lot more brittle than the standard black plastic. I don't know if it's the exact same material or not. I think this is a more brittle plastic, so I imagine these do break if you land hard. I have broken them. The one I broke may have been something that I didn't notice was previously broken and re-glued, but I do think they will break if they're landed on hard or crashed. But I have extras, and extras are still available out there, spare parts. So anyway, on to the next step. I'll get ready to drill some holes here. Okay, so I drilled my wheels. I just wanted to show you how I did that. This little jig I made with K&S tubing, I drilled from the back side of each wheel. First I trimmed off the little nubs which act as an axle. Then you know, I pressed it down, drilled through the back with my little jig. After about halfway through, I would stop and flip to the other side and drill in from the front a little bit to make sure the hole was square as the drill bit went through. And that's basically how I got to this with the let's see, where is it? With the wheels, with a hole drilled for an axle. For axles, I'm going to use some of these little brass nails. These are from a package of decorative nails that I got at a big box store. I use them for lots of things. And so on next, I'm going to drill the landing gear. What I'm going to do is pick a pin vise drill that fits closer to the size of the brass axle, and I'm going to drill through from the back side, right where the axle would snap in, and then once I've gotten through the outside, I'm going to use that to go back in and drill into the pocket where the inside axle would snap in. And I think I'm going to have to go all the way through the side, so it may weaken the landing gear a little bit, but I will fit the axles, trim them, and then put everything back together with a dab of JB Weld on the inside to hold everything in place. And hopefully that'll restore any strength to the landing gear part that, any weakening that's done by drilling. So I'll get to that and show you how it turns out. Okay, now I wanted to show you what the drilling process looks like. This is how it looks when you drive the drill through the wheel pant landing gear, and it does go through a nice solid piece of plastic, so I think adding the axle will actually help strengthen that a little bit. So what I plan to do is just trim off the sharp end of the axle, the nail, and just put a little dab of JB Weld on that. Maybe work it back and forth so the JB Weld goes into the portion of the landing gear where the nail's going through, and that should secure everything. And you can I'll show you here that it everything rolls a lot better now. It's more like the original axles, wire landing gear axles. So I think this is going to work out great. So I'll finish it up and then reassemble the plane so you can see what it looks like with the new landing gear setup. Okay, reassembly is complete. My new modified landing gears. You can see the axle, a little bit of JB Weld holding things in place, and primary. I put the gold gear on the backup, and I guess we're ready to go again. We'll see how this works. Again, this is my modified landing gears with the brass axles. Hopefully that'll make things roll better, and we'll see how that gold 50th anniversary plating holds up. See you later.